Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. At this point, it kind of just feels like a joke. I'm kind of waiting for not the punchline, but just more of like a, none of this actually feels real. The level of adoption, I know. The level of adoption feels unreal, and I don't know like what the wall, or I guess in this case what the ceiling could actually be. If you missed, this was maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, videos ago, we got information from Michael Saylor. He was, and it keeps coming back up because it's extremely relevant. He was saying that there are over 10,000 companies listed on the stock exchanges who, they're not zombie companies per se, but they're companies that like don't get as much limelight as other companies, as the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples, what have you. And he said, basically, these companies aren't going to have a choice in the future. They're going to have to buy Bitcoin in order to become and remain relevant in some sort of way. The 3 or 4 initial companies who adopted a Bitcoin strategy, if you will, their stock prices went up by anywhere from 200 to 3,000%. 3,000 being MicroStrategy, and 200 was one of the recent ones who, after they announced it, I think a month or two later, their stock had gone up by 200%. The companies that we're getting, this is daily, are, when I said like it feels like a joke, it's because like everything is happening. Have you ever been in a situation before where someone says that, you know, hey, we're going to go to do something, and like it never actually happens, or you kind of expect something to happen in life, or that you know should happen in life, but then it just kind of doesn't? This is what a lot of this feels like. We've heard for years, this isn't new. We've heard for years that the companies and the institutions and the corporations were looking at crypto and going to get into crypto. And now that they're here, it feels surreal because we know that they're actually here. The news that we also got recently is that the corporations are buying up, this was a study. The corporations are buying up so much Bitcoin that they're probably going to hold half, if not more than half, of all Bitcoin in the world because of their accumulation levels. A company, a Chinese consumer company by the name of DDC Enterprise, has revealed a brand new Bitcoin accumulation strategy. They announced that they are initially buying 100 Bitcoin. They're looking to get another 500 Bitcoin in the near future. And within the next 36 months, they are going to be accumulating another 5,000 Bitcoin. They said, I am exceptionally enthusiastic to announce DDC's Bitcoin accumulation strategy, a cornerstone of our long-term value creation plan. If you haven't seen, all of these companies are extra interesting because of their methodology. So some of them are going to be issuing debt against themselves like MicroStrategy did, but other ones are just going to be using extra profits to buy as much Bitcoin as they possibly can, with the entire idea that their whole purpose of this accumulation in the company then becomes, what is it called? BPS. Increasing what they call their BPS, that is Bitcoin per share. So as many of these are publicly listed companies, they have vowed to create and increase profits for their shareholders in terms of Bitcoin, always accumulating more. You know what's going to be really weird? You know what's going to be incredibly odd? In 2032, listen, in 2032, the halving has halved so hard. The amount of Bitcoin that comes out of the system as its mined is no longer an entire Bitcoin. It's just Satoshis. I call it dust. No longer a full Bitcoin for the next 110 years. The other crazy part, we keep hearing these companies, I'm going to get 500 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, 5,000 Bitcoin. Years ago, that 5,000 would have been 75,000 Bitcoin. But because of the price increase relative to the US dollar, they must accumulate less Bitcoin. In the year 2040, these companies are going to be on TV announcing that they acquired another 1.1 Bitcoin, and that's going to cause their share price to go up because of how high. Think about it. Isn't it weird to think that they're going to be like, yeah, we were able to luckily get another 0.78 Bitcoin for our treasury, because that's all that they're going to be able to actually afford. Isn't that weird? Even think of like MicroStrategy. At some point in the future, they're going to announce like, yeah, we got another 114 Bitcoin. And that will be billions of dollars. Isn't that odd? Yeah, okay, anyway. Also in the news, a company by the name of H100. They're a Swedish tech firm, just announced that they're jumping into the cryptocurrency Bitcoin accumulation treasury space by purchasing $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. When they announced this, their share price rose by almost 40% instantaneously. They said this is going to be a long-term Bitcoin treasury strategy. It's actually incredibly odd. Years ago, if you were here, we had some companies who would almost like symbolically announced that they were thinking of buying like one Bitcoin or maybe allocating a couple $100. It was meant to be like a wink in our direction, like, hey, we're also thinking about doing it too. I told you before, we're around like 10, 11, 12 companies now, easily. 10, 11, 12 companies who have openly announced that they're going to be doing this. A number of countries have been adopting Bitcoin. This is another one. They're called Al-Abraj, Abraj. They apparently have become the first public company in the Middle East to adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy. They come from Bahrain, Bahrain. They're Al-Abraj Restaurant Group, and they've taken a major step, becoming the region's first publicly traded company to add Bitcoin to their reserves. They said, surprise, they had a conversation with Michael Saylor. They said, big shout out to the legendary Michael Saylor. Your laser-eyed faith led the way. We've become the first public company in the Middle East to adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy. One of the chairmen said our move to become a Bitcoin company reflects our forward-looking approach and commitment to increasing shareholder value. We believe Bitcoin will play a central role in the future of finance. At this point, I don't really know what to do. Like I feel like a little bit lost in all of this, just because I can feel the term isn't the end is nigh. But I can feel that this is going to get a lot crazier than people are expecting. When you see my titles for my videos, understand it's literally how I feel in the moment. It's not like an afterthought kind of thing. When you see me writing, there's not a lot of Bitcoin left. If you don't hold Bitcoin, you're pooped. Like all these other kinds of things, I really, really mean it. If there are two companies vying for the remaining liquid supply on crypto exchanges of Bitcoin, how's the market going to react to 11, 12, 13 companies? These are public companies. These are public companies. These are companies who are public, who are listed. There are tons of private companies who are probably also buying but just not announcing it. The amount of Bitcoin on OTC markets is dwindling. We're getting news. $370 million worth of Bitcoin was taken off of Coinbase in a couple of hours. In one day, $1 billion left one cryptocurrency exchange. What do you think this is? Like, what do you, like, really, like, what do you, when you hear me say those numbers, do you think it's just like them being like, oh, no, okay, take it off? No, those are purchases. It's literally leaving at rapid speed. The price predictions we're getting for this year, all the people who were saying 200K, they're now 250, 300 something thousand, up to 500,000 by the end of this year. There's still people, I told you, I can't bring you everything. I can't bring you everything in one video. There are still analysts who are like, yeah, I think cycles are over. Do you understand that? If the 4-year cycle is broken, if by the time we get to March, April, May of 2026 and prices are still slowly going up, and then all the people who sold their Bitcoin watching the price continue to rise, and then they have to buy in at $620,000. Never forget how early you are in this market and how lucky you are to be able to own any of these things. 3 new companies added to the list. I'm going to Psychic Powers. Yum, 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 yum. I'm going to assume we're going to hear about 10 more companies over the course of June. I know, surprising, right? And it's never happened before. This is the first time this is all taking place. Well, I do hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you got something from it. Hope everybody's paying attention before we get to $300,000. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.